Hello, and welcome to the Pilots Pod Blast. Glad that you could join me for episode 4. Quick review, live, unedited. I do it and I post it. No shady shenanigans going on. Although this time I've prepared some presentations for you. Just a couple. Don't worry about it too much. Thanks very much. Got a cold. You'll have to forgive straight away. You have to forgive me if I start coughing and spluttering and whatnot. Yeah, it's all right. I'm a stomachache survivor, so I'm gonna knock this cold on its head. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine. Right, so what do we start with this episode? Derval and Lynette's relationship. They're putting it on full on. She's getting in there. She's so happy and smiley and pleasant. I don't. Are they going to turn her nasty? I don't know. A money grabbing, what have you, and one of Guinevere's girls. I don't know, but yeah, it's we'll see what goes on. I don't want him to. He just looks so happy and smiley. We look at the tour again. The tour looks great. Externally, certainly, it looks great. We see some new angles and what have you. Obviously CGI, but I think they did well with it. I like the red wash outside and all that business. Obviously, still it seems to be domed at the top. There's no platform for Merlin to have his dreams and what have you. But I don't think Merlin's the same Merlin anymore. What happens next? Arthur's accent is a bit all over the place in this, so I don't know whether this is one of the first things they filmed, and Ian was doing something different, which they haven't sourced in post. They could have ADR'd this, but it's really obvious. It becomes quite theatrical. Very English theatrical, and loses the Scottish accent. So maybe that was something that they're playing around with to begin with, and this was one of the first things that they did. I don't know, but really, someone in continuity should have spotted that. And yeah, a bit of ADR voiceover, fine. Morgan again, she's used for exposition. She's just telling us what's going on, and that's all. That's the only purpose she serves, because she's not got any motivation, and they decide, they just change her character when they need it to be changed. I mean, think back of episode 1, is it, where she's really annoyed at Derfel and Nimue. Why? Why is she annoyed at them that they're together? She has no stake in anything. Really, not at all. So anyway, exposition. She talks to us about, Arthur talks about Excalibur, the stories, and she says, "No, it was me. It was me that did those stories," and that's when we see Excalibur for the first time. Yeah. So just for context and whatnot, we will just have a little look at this. It's something I'm sure you're more than familiar with. We know that this doesn't happen in the books in this way. It is a sword on a stone at the ceremony to pledge the fealty to Mordred, and the ceremony of take the sword and we'll have a fight and so on and so forth. So we got the sword on the stone. That's classic Bernard Cornwell. Just it gives it a twist, gives it a bit of flavour. We know what's going on. Not it has got reverence though, because they've decided it's one of the 13 treasures. Arthur's only got it in his keep for now. It still belongs to Merlin, and Merlin can ask for it back whenever he wants it. And Arthur's got to give it back. And if you want to sacrifice a young prince in order to awaken the gods, then you're gonna have to bring the sword over. So the sword in the book has reverence, but it's not associated with David Beckham. Look at him. Do you remember David Beckham was in that? FHM years, man. They were wild. Right, so next what we're going to do, we're going to go to... We're going to have a look, sneak peek, big spoilers, all that carry on. This is what happens in The Winter King. Are you ready? Here we go.
Feel like something you whipped somebody's ass with right there.
Oh, what's it
Just
got?
like I thought. You could hurt
My
somebody with
goodness
this
me.
shit. No, it's just a stick.
Flip. Look at him go. Jeez
Jeez
Louise.
You want to go?
Give him a good old stabbing in the...
Ha! 2 pieces.
In the nevers. Yeah.
So
So,
God, it wasn't a real
yeah,
blade.
I've been a bit
You
glib,
had
aren't
dog
I?
meat all over
But-
the table.
Essentially, what happens is he just finds it. Just finds it there. He finds it in a skip. I tried to look for footage of someone finding something in a skip, or someone just turning around and going, "Look what I found." That would have been better and snappier, but I just couldn't find it. And now my YouTube is going to be full of suggestions of guys going through skips. So, oh man, you know the things I do. Yeah, has been a bit glib. I think because the reverence has gone. He finds it on his mum's grave, along with a load of others. Obviously, that's the one that speaks to him. What have you? He always wanted a sword that she made. Again, set these things up. Don't just do it. And this is the episode of Excalibur. Oh, do you remember episode 4? That's the Excalibur episode. What, wasn't it mentioned before? No. No legwork done in the writing whatsoever. No knitting done. Next one. So next it's we see Cadwis and his exchange with his men when he's hiding the gold from Owain, who's come to collect the taxes. He's come to collect taxes with a band of 4 men, and one of them's an accountant sneaking around. I liked the fact that they had a Roman villa that they were using as their base, because of course you'd have a Roman villa. There's a lot of them knocking about. Not all of them have been reused for or repurposed for other things yet, even though it's a few 100 years on, isn't it? So was it 100 years on? It's years on. So yeah, you've got good set. I liked it. It looked like a set, but it was nice to see, because there should be a lot more about that. I know that people have been saying, well, what about the uniforms? What about the things that they're using? Because when the Romans left, they left a massive vacuum of knowledge. That it just went. It was just like, how do we build a wall? We built a load of walls, but we're not entirely sure how to do it. Yeah, so nice to see. What wasn't nice to hear though was the guy playing Cadwis was again very Caesar in the Park. I don't know. It might not be fair to the actor. I don't know. All of these things are being signed off by someone. Someone's watching these, I hope, on playback and going, "Oh, actually, we could probably ADR that, you know, just to change it, make him sound more relaxed, make him sound like I do not." But it doesn't. It's not needed. You can sort it out. Anyway, we go to Merlin turning up again. Spooky music, spaghetti western music. It's very odd. I'll talk about music in a minute. So Merlin turns up and he gives Nimue a big old hug. Oh, how you doing? What's going on? It's very weird. It's very weird, his character, because he's so nice and pleasant and what have you. I don't understand. Again, his motivations and so on and so forth. They're not really made clear, and who he is isn't really made clear. It's very generic. It's not even generic, because if it was generic, it'd be an old guy and a wizard. Wizard get up. It would be a Gandalf or stay a while and listen. It would have been all of that business, but it's not even gone generic. They've just got someone contemporary to us, wandering around on the set of a Dark Ages TV series. It's really weird. It's really weird. Anyway, Derfel follows Cadmus's men so that he can see where the gold is. There's points in that where it's shot where it looks like he's about 2 foot away from them, and then they'll do an outshot to show that he's quite far away actually, and he's going across the screen like Scooby-Doo and Shaggy. His arms are up, and you can hear the toes as he goes across the background of the screen. Again, acting so weird, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, next. Oh, we do talk about it weird. So they have a meeting the next day. They know where the gold is and the whole blah, 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 blah. And while they're talking and they're talking about the tin mines and all that carry on and you shouldn't take this gold, watch Dervel's eyes. Watch his eyeballing. He looks... I don't know what they've done with this actor. Is it the actor? Is he that bad? I don't know. I don't want to think of that. Someone somewhere has gone, yeah, that's Sue Dervel should be like. I don't know what's going on with him. He looks really uncomfortable, about as uncomfortable as the wig he's wearing. It's so strange. I'm not being ableist. I've got a learning disability. I've got ADHD. And that's, I didn't find out till later on in life, and it's held me back on a lot of things and what have you. Oh, poor me. But I'm just saying I'm not being ableist when I say I think this version of Dervel has a learning difficulty because of the way that this actor is portraying him. Have they asked him to do that? Are they doing it so that at some point he's a warrior and we've had a transformation of character so that we can define early Dervel with older Dervel? I don't know. What are they up to? Just watch him. Watch him. We should do a supercut. I should do a supercut of him just being Dervel. I'll do that for next week, maybe. What's next? Right, so Dervel in the meeting, blah, blah. The music there is it's spaghetti western music again. Very strange. Merlin next. We go back to Merlin, and he's having visions, okay, of how bad Britain's going to be if Mordred becomes king and what have you. Let me show you what this reminded me of. He reminded me of this.
Do it, Wes. Shoot him. Come on, shoot him! Shoot him, shoot him, shoot him!
There's Merlin there.
Shoot him!
Stop the vision.
Shoot him, 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 shoot him!
Come back.
Drop the gun!
Deary me. Yeah. It's full on. When he has a vision, it's full on. And because of Loaded Weapon 1 and Samuel Jackson's amazing work there, that's all I can think of. That's all I can think of when he goes into it. And it's not over yet. Oh, it's not over. Next, Merlin decides, it's so bad that he's going to go and give the Edling Prince a bit of a killing. And tells Arthur, I'll take him away. He'd be laughing. Don't worry about it. You never have to think of him again. You rule. But he uses the Force. He gets around half the castle doing this with his hands, closing his eyes, parting them. And these guys, they're in true extra fashion. I'm not taking the mickey. I'm an extra in stuff too. You'll have to spot me, whatever. But they put their head down and they sort of shuffle to the side. I'm asleep now, but I shuffle because you need me to, even though I definitely can't see. So it must be the Force. And he goes and gets Mordred, so he can go and give him a kill. But half the castle have been put under this sleepy nighttime stuff. It's so weird. It's so weird. If he's really magical and has these visions and so on and so forth, he just wouldn't operate the way he does. He just wouldn't. Imagine the Merlin from the books if he had real power. It'd be a nightmare. He'd be the villain of the piece. I know that he sort of is the villain of the piece in some respects, but at the same time, we start to hate the Christians, don't we? In the books, I think this is what they've been trying to avoid in this. We sort of hate the Christians, and we're with the pagans until Merlin starts being really black and white about stuff, and he just using the Force, man. Come on, if that's what he was up to back then. What's the point of plot? What's the point of talking to people? What's the point of anything? He'd be ruling Britain with that kind of real power. Surely. The Force. So out of nowhere now, Merlin starts because he's talking about the fact that the old gods have been abandoned, and it's the fact that Bishop Bedwin has been part of Uther's crew and now Arthur's crew. It's Christianity coming in. That's what's done it. And it's like, where's this come from? We were talking about this in episode 1, that it's missing, but they're doing that thing again. They treat us as if we're stupid. We can only handle a plot line or something one at a time, and it can only happen in one episode. So if you've got the beginning bit, they talk about religion, then the end bit, they have the religious payoff, and that's now part of the story, instead of having it as part of the tapestry of the whole thing, so that we can get a sense of it ourselves, so that when the reveal happens, we're like, oh yeah, well, I did notice that. It comes out of nowhere, and there's two scenes of it in this. It's so janky. It's shoehorned. This is what I'm called episode 4, the shoehorning. Right, so anyway, Merlin says, right, well, I'm off then. If you're not going to do it, I'm off. Call me when you're brave enough to deal with him. So does that mean Merlin's gone now and he's going to be getting up to what he's going to be getting up to? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. I mean, yeah, the Force. So next, Arthur and Bedwin talk. And they talk about Gonlius, and they talk about religion, and they talk about the sweep of Christianity within Britain. And then Bishop Sampson, he's not a bishop yet, is he? So the Mouse Lord, he's there. We're not calling him the Mouse Lord, are we? Because he didn't live next to the Tor and with his little eye, his little bush that the kids used to see, that he was replacing it and all that. We're not having that in this series, are we? And the fact that Arthur goes and gets a load of gold off him, perhaps that'll happen. I don't know. But out of nowhere, suddenly Samson's someone who Bedwin goes, I always feel guilty when he's about, because he's the closest to God there is. They all love him. Show us the women that go absolutely wild for him. There's nothing as well. He's into the boys, isn't he? He's into the young boys. I don't think that's going to be in here. There seems to be we'll see what happens, but there seems to be avoiding the attack on Christianity because, it's especially because it's in America. The thing about Britain is as much as it's Christian, and I think the majority of us can just watch these things and go, yeah, fair enough. That's someone's point of view. When it comes to religion, I think it's a bit more in America, isn't it? Depending on where you are. So perhaps they're trying to play to every bit of the crowd, which is why there's nothing hitting. And where are the Saxons? They talked about them once. I don't know. They're a constant threat. They're constant. So that happens, and the music here goes almost Indiana Jones. It's very weird. Again, the music in this, and then later on when he's having a moment with Excalibur, he's the music turns to quite a romantic piece, if you like, and you've got the spaghetti western, and you've got the Scooby-Doo spaghetti western, and you've got the sort of faux Indiana Jones-ish. You see what I mean? It might be more Temple of Doom. It's not so much a musical score as bits of music that have been overlaid the action. I don't know whether it was whether anyone's seen the scenes and gone, what have you, or someone said, well, we could do with this type of music, we do this kind of, or have they, have they gone on Pixabay and got it? I don't know. But whoever's editing this together, there is no sense of it being a score. It's really weird. Again, the music's one of the things that we rely on, and things like that make it janky. I was watching Ahsoka. She's just come back from the World in Between. It was playing piano music. I've never heard piano music in Star Wars. It's full orchestra, and there's probably pianos in there. I don't remember hearing specifically a piano piece, though. And so that scene, janky, because it was like, pianos in Star Wars? It's just taking me out of it. Music's very important. So, yes. Next, Derval and Lynette, they have sexy times next to some sheep, and again, is she taking advantage of him? Because I'm carrying on, and she says it's fine that you're thinking of Nimue. It's fine. It's laughing. You're thinking of someone else. Yeah, you're thinking of someone else while you're looming over me. Yeah, laughing. Do you want me to get a photograph? Stick it on my face, perhaps. That kind of thing. It can be arranged. Don't worry. You think of Nimue. It's laughing. Weird. Jump to the tour, and Merlin tells Nimue that she's pregnant with Gundelis's child, and she's just going to have to deal with it because her having a potential king in her belly gestating is very important to Merlin and his future plans. So we have a sense of something going on. Now, I don't mind when something like that happens. It's nothing to do with anything. I know that, but I'm into it because at least it's something. It's not, oh, we're not going to put that in, so we'll put something generic in. This is probably the first bit of original writing that sticks out as something that might add to drama and what have you, gives a sense maybe of what Merlin's up to now. Because again, Merlin, it was just being a bit more harsh this time. Out of nowhere, just, no, you will and you have to, and Nimue, you can use the Force, mate. Bring her back. You got powers, so do that. We see the raid on the tin mine. We mentioned that it was coming, didn't we? So it was nice to see spaghetti western music again, lots of eyeballs. We see the girl who's going to be the witness. I thought she turns up at the naming, and oh no, is it Galahad? Is Galahad meant to be there by now? And no, it's Tristan, isn't it? Who comes up and uses his champion. I've read them so many times. They get confused as to what's happening when. But we know what's we know what's happening. We know what's being set up. So, and they made it so the Derval's the one that's hiding her, and that kind of thing. And the cave looked like the cave of Kaya Banog. I was waiting for the rabbit to come out and start attacking people. It was nice area to stick this set in. This set of this, I mean, the amount of tin that they had there, and there's 3 people and 1 house. It's, again, and in the book it's an attack at dawn, isn't it? And they've got the black shields and that kind of thing, so that so no one recognizes who they are. And he was Nowain was talking to Cadwis as if, don't you tell anyone I'm going to be up to this. This better not come back. Like, again, like the audience are a bit stupid, and we need to be, oh, it's going to come back in it, that kind of thing going on. Yeah, so the directing at this point, it was just like, we've just got to get this scene done. So we'll get this scene, we'll get a couple of people, and they'll have a little fight. Girls hiding underneath there. Scene done. Can we all go home now? Bye. No, because of what it means for Owain and the future and what have you. Take your time. Do a three-day shoot on it. Do the attack at dawn with a little bit of smoke. I mean steam, because they're bound to be next to a water source, a river, because they're tin mining. So you can make 15 men look like 50 men, and that's what you should have done. You should have just took the time and made it more filmatic. There's a lot in this starting to look rushed now. And it's, funnily enough, it's when they're introducing these new plot lines and what have you, it seems hurried. The writing and directing, the pace is really weird, and the decisions that they've made while directing are very odd. I don't know. It was worth spending 3 days to really up it. It was worth spending that little bit of extra money, because you got to spend money to make money. And if this is an epic, because people are touting it, you know what it's like. The funniest thing since The Mask or wherever, they say these ridiculous things. This is a Game of Thrones substitute. This is what this is being touted at, and it isn't. So, do it Game of Thrones style. It would have been epic if HBO had made this. Imagine HBO making this and sticking to the source material like they did with Game of Thrones. My goodness. It would be a different series. Oh, man. Oh, that's made me sad. So, yeah, Arthur's playing with Excalibur. Everyone comes with, King Gorfith. Gorfith is there. He's been proper pantomime villain. I'm enjoying it, but he looks it's very contemporary acting. It's like a bailiff in a 90s urban film kind of thing, just a little over the top, but not quite chewing the scenery. That kind of level of menace that you don't normally see in this kind of show. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed him. Bit monologue-y, bit and so on and so forth. After the monologuing, Gondlius attacks Arthur, and his sword breaks on Excalibur. And at that time, Arthur's looking at it like, wow, this is Excalibur. The thing that he's obviously imprinting on it. This is the thing, and so on and so forth. And maybe some of that power's come from him because he has been touched by Merlin. I say touched by Merlin. You've got to be very careful what you say these days. Merlin. That's not a very good joke, is it? So yeah, that's the end of it, I think. So yeah, and it sort of infers with the directing that other people in the room think that it's Excalibur too, and they're like, oh, but they haven't mentioned it before. And if they'd mentioned it, even slightly in the first episode, someone talking about Arthur, why should he rule? It's not like he has Excalibur, that kind of stuff. What you can put one line in to set up a story later. Just it's a minimal thing that'll help the story all the way through. Bernard Cornwell is very good at that. Listen, I'm at the end of this episode. I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying moaning because I'm British and this is what we do. We're very good at it. I hope that you find that I'm very good at moaning, because that's my intention. Actually, my intention is to enjoy the show. I am but it takes me out a lot for the reasons I've said, and I wish that it was slightly different. And I highlight those things. I've got a voice on the YouTubings, and so this is what I'm using it for at the moment. Just while I get used to all the recording equipment and what have you, because Winter King is something that I love. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to say, if you want to go, but I'm going to have a little moan afterwards, if you don't mind. It's separate, but it's not. I'm going to have a little moan at Bernard Cornwell. If you don't want to hear that, then don't worry about it. You've stayed with me this long. How long has it been? Half an hour. Almost on the dot there. And so, well done you. Thank you. I'll do the doobry. Like, subscribe, go fishing if that's what you fancy. Okay. Everyone gone? Everyone's staying who's going to stay. Thank you for staying. Bernard Cornwell, I am going to level a little bit of blame at his door, because we love the Winter King, and he is, we love him for that. And this show is happening. And what's happened is they've come along and said, can we do that? And he said, yeah, for a big dirty pile of cash. And they've gone, there you go. And that's as much as the input that he's had with this series. And I presume, because, my goodness, if he's anything, what's going on? He's sitting on his cash. He's quite happy, and maybe I'm being harsh because that's what he is. He's a novelist. He wants to write novels. He doesn't want to be overseeing TV programs. He wants to be writing novels and enjoying his life. He's taken his massive talent and he's turned it into a revenue source. Well in, but I just wish that he exercised a little bit more control over these products of his, and that he perhaps had it signed into some of the contracts that like Sharp and what have you, or whatever's coming next, Harlequin or whatnot. Just look at what's happened. Look at what they do. Sell it to the right people who'll give it a budget, and oversee it a bit to make sure that the thing that you wrote is what goes up on screen. If you can do that, that'd be very kind of you. It's like the control that United Artists have always had over James Bond, except for Thunderball being remade into Never Say Never Again. But that's to do with Ian Fleming, isn't it? But they've had a quite tight control over it. They sold the rights to programs to be made using James Bond branding 007 and all that carry on to Amazon. And what's the first thing that they've done? What's the thing that we associate with Bond? We associate Bond with a reality TV show of 12 weeks with 12 contestants, one eventual winner, pretending to be a spy, while others are trying to prevent you from doing what you do. You got your little secret missions. Who's the best spy? And you win your £1 million at the end. That's not Bond. That's not what I want. That's when you give someone the free reign. Right? What can we make cheap as chips that we can just get it done now? Do you know what I mean? That's at least when they control it themselves. I mean, they missed out on a lot of things, like because there should have been a Michelle Yeoh series, a spin-off. That would have been awesome. Look how much they've missed out now. Look at her; she's having this renaissance, and rightly so. But it would have been nicer for her to get the recognition at the time. This is a slightly different moan, isn't it? But the point is that Bond has always been quite controlled over, and they make their own mistakes and they decide to do what they do, and blah 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 blah. Same with, I suppose with Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings probably too much control. You know what I mean? Oh, we want to do this series. We're going to do a prequel to Lord of the Rings and so on and so forth. Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to talk about the Balrogs and when they. No. You can't use them. Why not? Well, you can't have anything from the first book. You have only said that you've only got a contract for the Lord of the Rings. So it's mentioned in Lord of the Rings. You can do Lord of the Rings. And so it's put them in a position where this TV studio now, again Amazon, I've got to just start making stuff up. I've got to start, and because they're making stuff up, you then get the great great nephew of Tolkien. No, it was rubbish. My great uncle wouldn't have done that. What they're doing is rubbish. You sold it to them. You don't oversee it. You don't make sure they're doing it right. No, you anyway. He was J.R.R. Tolkien. Stop it. Yeah. So, I got confused. Excuse me. It was bound to happen at some point. I got confused at the end. Yeah, I'll leave it. The message being, Bernard Cornwell, please take a bit of control over over the books that you own. These brilliant pieces of work that we absolutely love, and would love to see on the screen and to introduce new people to it. But it's very difficult when it's done cheap. It's done by people that don't necessarily love the source material, and who can't keep a creative control over their own product. I don't think. It's very all over the shop. It's very sad. I'm still watching it. I'll continue to watch it, and I'll continue to moan. Thank you very much. If you've stayed the course, that's an extra 7 minutes. Well done, you. Like and subscribe and comment, all that kind of thing. I hope to see you next week for the next episode. And we've got a lot brewing, haven't we? So, and things that we don't necessarily know, which is good. And let's hope the shoehorning, there's not going to be another repeat of that, because I'm a bit sick of it. Right then. Goodbye. Thank you. I'll see you later.